talks first, you talk first, I talk first.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This is Han of Han Talks First, a Star Wars channel where we talk about the latest and greatest in the Star Wars world. And today we're looking at the original outline for Return of the Jedi. And I'll actually be reading you its first draft, written by George Lucas. To give you a little backstory, much of the action in this version of the script centers on the capital planet Had Abaddon, and also on the relatively unspoiled forest satellite, Green Moon. Now, we do know that today we refer to Had Abaddon as Coruscant, and we refer to Green Moon as Endor. Those names were ultimately switched to fit modern-day canon, and of course Coruscant was cut out of Return of the Jedi, but it later was the inspiration to bring in that capital planet into the prequel movies. So it's interesting to see everything was kind of already talked about in those early days of making Star Wars, and a lot of the Star Wars we got in the prequels was just revisited ideas and concepts later on. So now I'm going to read you the outline that George Lucas made, and this is a summary of that first original draft, and it's pretty exciting. So here we go. The entire capital planet of Had Abaddon, later known as Coruscant, is a giant, smoggy city which draws most of its natural resources from a relatively unspoiled forest satellite referred to as simply the Green Moon. This is essentially Endor. And the Green Moon is home to a race of small, furry primitives who are beneath the notice of the Empire, known as the Ewax. It is also the home to two giant laser cannons that defend the Imperial homeworld. Also orbiting Had Abaddon are two new and even more powerful Death Stars, both still under construction. On Had Abaddon, Darth Vader is summoned to the Chamber of the Emperor, an underground lair near the planet's core where the Imperial throne is encircled by a pool of bubbling lava. Vader's failure to capture or kill Luke Skywalker on Cloud City has drawn the ear of the Emperor, who orders Grand Moff Jeriden to have his men capture Luke and bring him to the Emperor for training. When Vader protests, the Emperor uses the Force to momentarily cut off the Sith Lord's air supply, and tells him he is fortunate that he is still being allowed to live. Vader wants to recruit Luke to help him overthrow the Emperor, and the Emperor wants Luke to replace Vader as his hatchet man. Meanwhile, Princess Leia and the Rebel Strike Team, led by Captain Jode, makes a secret landing on the Green Moon, and they plan to take over the laser cannons, using them to fire on Had Abaddon itself, taking out the force field generator protecting the two Death Stars, and cutting off communications between the space station and the homeworld. Then, at a prearranged time, the Rebel fleet will drop out of hyperspace and destroy the Death Stars. The previous flaw in the Death Star design had been eliminated, to the space stations must be destroyed before they are completed. Across the galaxy on Tatooine, Luke, Lando, Chewbacca, and the droids rescue Han from the clutches of Jabba the Hutt, in much the same manner as it was in the finished film, although without Leia's help. Luke's battle with the Rancor monster and the death of Jabba at the Sarlacc pit are already present in this early version. Next, Luke, Han, and the rest of the gang fly the Millennium Falcon to the grass planet of Seisman, where the Rebel fleet is massing for an Imperial attack. And on the way, Ben Kenobi and Yoda appear to Luke in a dream. And Kenobi explains that Vader was murdered by the dark side, and reveals that Leia is Luke's twin sister. And Luke must face Vader again, so they say. Kenobi also explains that at this time in the Netherworld, time is running out, and he must either return to his material form, or else become one with the Force. For now, he will remain in the Netherworld and attempt to cloud Vader's ability to use the Force. And Yoda has joined Kenobi in the Netherworld and will do the same to the Emperor. On Seisman, Han learns the details of the Rebel plan and wants to rush there to help Leia. Admiral Akbar cautiously is against this, as does Luke at first. Then, while constructing a new lightsaber, Luke has a vision that the attack will fail. Leia is in danger. Luke, Han, Chewie, and the droids rush to the Green Moon in the Falcon. And on the Green Moon, Leia meets and befriends the Ewax. As in the finished film, Vader senses Luke is near to the moon. Luke, Han, Chewie, and the droids are pursued by Imperial troops, including a two-legged AT-ST, otherwise known as a chicken walker. Luke, realizing that his presence poses a threat to the mission, surrenders, enabling the others to escape. He is taken to the Grand Moff Jaredin, but before Jaredin can take him to the Emperor, Vader appears. Vader kills Jaredin, strangling him with the Force, and takes Luke to the Emperor himself. The final showdown takes place in a subterranean Imperial throne room. While on the Green Moon, the Ewoks help the rebels capture the laser cannons, and the assault on the Death Star commences. Luke, aided by Yoda and Kenobi, face the Emperor and Vader. Kenobi and Yoda appear at both Vader and to the Emperor and urge them to surrender. Kenobi tells the Emperor there is no entrance to the Netherworld through the dark side. Nonetheless, the Emperor forces Vader and Luke to fight one another, and the Emperor tries to goad Luke into turning to the dark side to defeat Vader. Luke is too strong for Vader and eventually defeats him, but he refuses to kill. Realizing that his plan has failed, Vader intensely looks at the Emperor and figures out his scheme to try and take and replace him with his son. Then he launches himself boldly at the Emperor, and the two of them tumble into the lava, and the Emperor and Darth Vader are destroyed. Above, the rebels destroy the Death Stars, and the Empire has fallen. Afterward, the rebels and the Ewoks hold a victory celebration on the moon, and Kenobi and Yoda return in the flesh to take part in the festivities. And that's it. Pretty different, right? Compared to what we got in the final film. I will say it is a very good first draft. George Lucas only had a limited amount of time to write this outline before passing it off to Lawrence Kasdan, the other writer for this movie. If you want to hear more about the making of these scripts, check out the videos linked below. It's a 2-part series about the making of Return of the Jedi. And there's lots of other great videos on the channel, so subscribe so you never miss one. And let me know what you thought of this video in the comments below. And now, somehow, someway, somewhere this week, my friends, may the Force be with you.